On that restart where Kyle took it 3 wide, did you feel like you were kind of between a rock and a hard place, having to defend Marcos to the outside and knowing Kyle was probably going to do something like that?
Yeah, I mean, basically the sport has changed when double file restarts came on board, especially on tracks of this nature. And you see it more so on the nationwide and truck side where the leader is no longer the best spot to be in. And again, you see that more in the other two series, but on road courses and short tracks at the cup level, the leader is in the most vulnerable spot at all times, and it's really unfortunate because you work so hard to get that positioning, and then a yellow comes out and you're now no longer in the best spot. And the reason for that is the cars behind you can time the start based off your cadence and the way the restart zone is, and then just bonsai the shit out of you into the corner and put you in a situation where you can only lose. You either give them the position or they clean you out and themselves out at the same time. And the third place guy knows that. And that's what you're seeing in the racing, whether it was here today or yesterday. I was in both those situations in some sort of fashion. And I think you see that a lot on the truck and nationwide side where I'd like to see a stat how often the leader of the race comes back to the line in the lead. And I think you would see that margin is getting lower and lower to where it's less than 50%. And that was the situation with the move that Kyle made. He's a smart racer, and he knows that he put me in a situation where it was either I let him go or we both wreck. And it didn't make any sense to wreck out of this race for me. And I can respect that. He's smart, and he knows that gave him a shot at winning the race. And had the 47 not blue oil line, assuming it was the 47, he would have. So, the dynamics of restarts have really changed the racing. And it would have been interesting to see what would have happened had we had another yellow there at the end. And that would have put me in that third place position where essentially it would have been my responsibility to just dive the shit out of turn one and hope that Kyle let me in. And it would have been interesting to see what mentality he would have had then, because I'm guessing he wouldn't have let me in. But, that's the racing. And you go back to even Martinsville, and we saw the same thing with Clint and Jeff and Jimmy. That's just how the racing has evolved, and it's a bit unfortunate. It's not something I personally like seeing, but it is the game that we play as the rules are set right now.
Okay, we'll take our next question right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, last year, sorry, Joe Cummings with YNN. Last year there was a big kerfluffle after the large crash about the safety of the track. Did it feel safer this year after the changes that were made?
There's no doubt. This is a tough question to answer without being really offensive, but there's no doubt that improvements have been made. But in my opinion, there's no road courses in America that are up to the safety standards they should be. And I think you look at the road courses in Europe and how much better they are. It speaks volumes of, why American road racing is where it's at. We just don't have. There's been improvements, but certainly not enough to where I think if you pulled the whole garage, they would say it's satisfactory.
Additional questions? Okay, John.
John Gunn, NASCAR Illustrated. What did you think of your chances when Kyle made that pass on the restart and then Ambrose got you and you're sitting back there? How do you think you're going to do at that point?
Well, Marcos didn't get me till 2 or 3 laps later. So I'm sorry, I keep getting caught on the TVs. Marcos didn't get me till at least 5 or 6 laps later, and that was just from pushing so hard to try and get by Kyle. Just that didn't have anything to do with the restart. That was just me doing all I could to get back by Kyle, and he had the clean air. I think my car was a little faster, but he had the clean air, and when I got behind him, I would just push so bad that I couldn't get that positioning on him to make a move.
Okay, we'll have a follow-up from Reed.
Yeah, I mean, you're watching the TVs. Just talk a little bit about how much you enjoyed that last lap, even though you came in second. Just how much you enjoyed the racing.
I absolutely enjoyed the race. Of course, I'm a little spoiled on that answer, being a front finisher, and probably would not have that same perception if I was not. But I just think this is what racing should be. And I think this is what the fans come to expect out of NASCAR racing, and why it grew to popularity as it did. And we need to produce shows of this nature to continue to, sustain the level that we have. So I'm proud to be a part of one of those races.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Lee.
That being said, would you like to add another road course? Could you see a Montreal, on the schedule in the near future? Because it just seems like this has almost replaced short track racing. I mean, the fans, as much passion as they've had for short track racing, when you guys come in, you just talk about how exciting and how thrilling it is for this kind of racing. I mean, would it be cool to add a place, say, like Montreal?
I don't think that's the right approach to what the sport needs. I think that there's certainly other tracks that we could look at. And, I enjoy the international market. I had a blast in Montreal. But I think that's the wrong line of thinking. I think you have to look at why these races are so good. And it fits with the way this car is built. It's built for tracks, not necessarily built for road courses, but it's built for the beating and banging that you're seeing. And that makes it an ideal car for a track of this nature. I think if you want to look back and to obviously some of the peaks of our sport and where the racing was generally considered to be the best, it was on ovals. And I think that we need to just simply correct some of the things that we need to make the oval racing better, and that should be our approach forward. But that's obviously NASCAR's way forward, and I know they're working on that, and I think that I support that approach.
Okay, go ahead with your next question.
Yeah, I was just thinking, any thoughts of deja vu, considering it was the three of you?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And
unfortunately, it involved spinning the 18, and that part's not deja vu, and that's not something I wanted to happen.
Now, after last year's race, were there times that you thought about, if I had done this differently? Are you going to go away from this race thinking, what could I have done differently?
Probably. Yeah, probably. I mean, you have to understand there's a part of me that's just so thrilled to be competitive on a road course that I don't want to say second is a win, but there's just a large part of me that's just tickled to run that well, because I'm not supposed to run well on road courses, and the last year and a half we've been very strong, and I'm just tickled to be with a team that gives me cars that can do that, and to have shown whatever level of growth it has taken to get to this level as a driver as well.
2 straight second places here. What makes you so good at Watkins Glen?
I got good cars. I mean, I don't know. Just things are clicking, and if I knew what it was, I would have gone after it a long time ago. But sometimes things just go well, and you don't sweat why. You just enjoy it, and that's where I'm at.